there, I'm Dr. Hackey Reitman. Welcome to another episode of Exploring Different Brains. Today we are continuing our conversation with our friend Dr. J.R. Harding. He's an FSU professor, an author, speaker, and a true champion for those of us with disabilities. Let's talk about the specifics of something you've really been a pioneer in, which is traveling. Traveling when you're a little bit different.
I grew up in a military family. And so in a sense, I had the travel bug growing up as a kid. It was a natural and appropriate part of our family's existence and our neighbors, because in the military, you moved every 16 months to 3 years, right? That's just what you did. And the advantage of that was meeting cultures, peoples, history, experiences, that every place is different. Every place has a story to tell. Every place has contributed to our world's knowledge in some way or fashion. And my wife and I we're going on 17 years, and bless her heart, she went into this with her eyes wide open and was willing to marry a quadriplegic, was willing to love and be that partner, and in some senses to also live that adaptive life, right? Because if I can't go, she doesn't want to go. So to that point of travel, we have made a conscious decision to see, can we go see all of those great places? Can we see where knowledge was formed? Can we see where architectural wonders happened? Can we experience those some of that wonderful cuisine, or see diversity at its best? And so, despite the wheelchair, right, and maybe because of that wheelchair, and maybe because of those early years as a young boy growing up with the military parents, that I have this travel bug. And I've had the pleasure of being to Australia, Alaska, Hawaii, France, Rome, Berlin, right? London most recently. And it is through these travel experiences, I see our disability brand, our sense of inclusion spreading across the world, like really like a lightning rod. Okay. And some of those really old cities, I'll take London, going on almost 2,000 years, right? You can go there and see Roman ruins. You don't have to go to Italy to see Roman ruins, or to the Greek Isles. And despite the 2,000 years of history, they have found a way to build inclusion, have found a way to replicate the American ADA standards that works within their culture. And I actually have started to find treasures in our different countries in which America, who started this disability journey, could now learn from. Like, for example, I was very touched by the black cabs in London. That's their taxi system. And it's a unique privilege to become a black cab driver in London. You've got to go through an apprenticeship. You got to be able to navigate the ancient city without GPS and know your roads. And you need to be able to tell the stories of the London people and the history that goes with it while you're entertaining your passengers. Well, all of that is cool. And then you don't have to buy a special tour guide, because you got this well-educated ruffian there behind the wheel. But what was cool, Hackey, is every one of the black cabs was accessible. They had ramps. So I could walk out on the street, raise my hand, and get a ride anywhere in the city, really, for that matter, anywhere in their country in a matter of minutes. That kind of on-demand transportation is not a service we have here in America. But yet, didn't we come up with Uber? Didn't we come up with Lyft? Right? Didn't we come up with 504 and the Rehab Act and transportation standards? Yes, but I can't go out of FSU and hail a cab in 3 minutes that could take me where I need to go. Or their outdoor lift getting into the British Museum. It was quiet, it was smooth, and it was intuitive to use, unlike some of our outdoor lifts that we have in some of our historical pieces. I feel like I'm some kind of construction guy and an outdoor crane making all kinds of crazy noise, and everyone's paying attention to, well, who's this person with the disability showing up? No, you just simply jump into the lift, come up, and roll right out. Or the eye, right? The new famous Ferris wheel over the River Thames. They stop the rotation of the vehicle and drop a lift down, a ramp onto it, so we can roll right in, and we have plenty of turning space and incredible views of the ancient city there in London through the eye. So all of these things, whether it's in Greece and being up at the Acropolis, right? Or being in Sydney and seeing there at the harbor where the surfers go and stuff, it could all be done. And I would encourage our friends and folks to travel. And I guess as we leave this, you can go to a developed city, or you can go to the outback out in the middle of Australia or in nowhere South Africa and hang out with the critters. And so I say this to challenge those who are watching and to inspire them to take a holiday, to learn something about themselves, to pick up a language, to eat some good food, and to take an adventure, because it can be done, it should be done, and why not?
Very inspirational. What are some of the resources? Say I have a disability and I'm chicken to go traveling, and I hear this interview and I say, gee whiz, I never even, go out of my city. Where do I start? How do I learn about all of this stuff? Like,
well, and that's fair. And let's not confuse your audience, Hacky, that nothing's easy, okay? It all takes extra planning, right? You may need to book an international cruise a year ahead of time to make sure you get the accessible features that you need, okay? And it does take some planning. Now, there are some unique travel companies who simply specialize in accessible, inclusive travel, whether it's just you and your wife, or you by yourself, or perhaps you wanted to go with a group of friends. You can reach out, you can Google some of these entities like Sage Travel or Wheel the World, and they've already found the accessible hotels. They have found the accessible transportation providers. They have found how you get into, the Acropolis, or how you get into the London Tower. How do you, fly, or what's the best route to get from here to the other side of the world? Okay, so they have figured out an awful lot of these pieces. And what's really exciting about it is often these travel agencies that specialize in our services have not only competitive, but perhaps cheaper services than your more traditional specialized folks. In fact, the wife and I are thinking we want to do Israel and Egypt as a big, you got to go to the Middle East. You got to go where, religion was born and so many multiple cultures are all praying under the same roof in different spaces, right? You got to go see the pyramids in person. And I'm talking with a little travel lady who is excited to be able to meet my needs in her country, right? So really the fundamental question is raise your hand, ask for help, and the resources are out there.
That's great. How can our audience want to learn more about you? Learn more about you.
Oh, well, you're too kind, Hacky. And the audience can learn more about me by Googling Florida State University, going to my personal webpage at jrharding.com, or they can simply call me, and I would be happy to accept their call at 850-510-4628. There are 2 books, as you indicated. We have 2 books out there, one called Now What, and the other called ADA Adventures, right? Living that active life from travel to politics to workforce to healthcare to independent living to how about spousal relationships, right? It's all a bit of a challenge for us, but it's one that I think most of us thrive on learning how to be engaged and members of the community.
Let's hear the names of those books again.
Okay, it's called Now What by J.R. Harding and ADA Adventure. They both can be found on Google and Amazon and so forth, and they're fun, quick, meaningful reads, and most people say they're okay.
jrharding.com is the website, and we here at Different Brains will be posting more about this and how to get a hold of you. And the phone is 850-510-4628 for the inspirational J.R. Harding.
Thank you, Hacky. You have a great rest of the week, brother.
Exploring Different Brains is a production of Different Brains. Visit us at differentbrains.org.